Okay, we're going to get started here. This is the last live lecture for this class. Welcome to week 4, live session 2. Hopefully you guys are, listening to the lectures. This typically is I always tell my students it's like the meat and potatoes behind the class, because in the lectures, we are going to be doing demos. We've done step-by-step demos. So if you're confused by anything within the reading of the assignment and what to do, the lectures will definitely save you a lot of time and energy if you are taking that time to listen to all of the recordings. There are a few of you that I can tell do not listen to the recordings, so I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. This will definitely improve your work and understanding of each project. It's not mandatory that you listen to the live lectures or the lectures, and it's not mandatory for you to be in the live lecture, but it's highly recommended, just to get as much as you can from the class. Plus it's doing the step-by-step demonstrations for projects that you are doing is so helpful, I believe, for you guys to know what you're how to approach a project. So make sure you're doing that, taking that time and listening to the recording so that your work and obviously you're getting as much as you can from it. All right, so what we're going to be doing is, for today's agenda, looking at your assignment 4 once again. We went over a lot of information yesterday. So if you missed it, listen to the recording from yesterday. That's the first live lecture of week 4. I did a step-by-step demo on how to create and build your 4 screens. I went through each step and provided some tips and tricks and methods to apply. And also I went through the whole process. So I actually went from start to finish and how to save out your files appropriately for your submission. Don't forget, you are to submit a multiple page PDF with your 4 flat screens, as well as your 4 templates that are mock-ups. The mock-up is provided in the assignment 4. I had showed you where to look for that. It's in the reading. It's a hyperlink. It is a InDesign file. And in order for you to place your screens into this mock-up, because of the size ratio, your screen size should be around 8.5 by 5.5 inches. So make sure you're getting that ratio in there for placement. I showed you how to save out as JPEGs to place into your mockups for assignment 4, and then also how to export for Behance, because that's kind of like the second part to the project. So you are to upload your JPEGs of just your mockup to Behance, send it to your advisor, and then CC me on that email. So there's a lot of information that we went over yesterday. And, this actual lecture today may be a little shorter because of that, because all that we are going to be going over basically today is your assessment 4 demo, so the interactive PDF. So we'll go through that, and hopefully you guys will understand what needs to happen for your assessment 4. All right. Just a little recap here. Assignment 4, designing interactive interface. So week 3, you guys basically did your strategy. You planned your overall grid structure and your icons. You chose a brand, you sketched the flow, you designed the icons, you presented the plan. So week 4, design the UI screens, consider hierarchy and composition for good UX. Place a presentation template, place in presentation template, and downloads. Don't skip the steps, plan the UI, think of the UX, think of the user experience. If you were actually going up to this kiosk screen, would it be an easy thing to read and follow through? Another important thing to talk about all the time is hierarchy, and that's basically where your eye tends to go. If you have, for instance, everything on your screen is emphasized, and I mean, you know, it could be all the same size, ratio, it could all be the same emphasis, maybe it's all bold. The eye won't know where to look first. If there's not a lot of white space, kind of, you know, creating good proximity, the eye is not going to know where to look first. And typically when that happens, in any type of composition, say a kiosk screen or a website that you're looking at, or an advertisement, a printed piece, the person tends to get frustrated and may just leave, or they may not know where to start. So it's our jobs as visual designers and, you know, UX designers to visually allow the person to have a flow of a path of what they're supposed to see first, second, third, fourth. In doing so, you know, you think about all of the fundamentals of design. You know, you think about contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity, and hierarchy. Hierarchy allows us to know, you know, where to look first, second, third, and fourth. So tips and information in weeks 4 are in the media and readings. So definitely check that out. I pointed this out yesterday in the course media section. So definitely read those articles, very important. You know, we always drill it in your heads about the CRAP principles, and there's a reason for that. Because it guides the user through the steps of the interface, just like a layout, and lets them know where they are, how to navigate, where to go next, even how to return back to a previous place. So it's almost like a wayfinding in a way, you know, like signage, but you're doing it through the interactiveness of your screen. And also the screen itself, the layout of the screen. Repetition, alignment, proximity will identify sections, give the experience a cohesive, comfortable feel. If there's any type of disruption in that flow, you know, you could, you know, lose interest, or, you know, it may just not flow correctly to the point where that person, you know, it's kind of like meaningless. You know, you're not getting to the point where it's resolving anything. Use white space, sizing, and isolation. You know, think about a lot of this is a challenge, I think, for everyone as design students, and I know I've been there before. And this is something sometimes you just have to learn through experience and go back and just kind of revamp. Embrace white space. It's a visual pause that you need. You know, obviously you want to balance, but the white space is really going to help give you that visual pause that's needed, so that the eye has time to look at one section and then the next. It's organizing your information and framing the most important information. So it's really, really important to strike that balance with the white space. Contrasting values and colors are needed to separate icons or text from a background, but a color palette still needs to be harmonious and consistent to keep the whole design cohesive. So, you know, it's good to kind of have pops of color, but you don't want to have too many colors that aren't really cohesive with your brand, because that becomes, you know, it starts to become a disconnect with the brand itself. There'll be confusion and it'll just be overwhelming. So you need to make sure you have enough contrast and the appropriate colors that go with the brand. All right. So don't forget, for assignment 4 requirements, and we went over this yesterday, final designs of 4 to 5 screens. You can use Photoshop or Illustrator. Kind of talked about this yesterday. In my demo, I showed you how to utilize Illustrator to build your screens. That way you kind of skip the step of taking it into Photoshop, since, you know, once you're done in Illustrator, you need to place it in InDesign. So you're kind of skipping one step there. Use icons. You know, make sure that they all unify together. They make sense. They're unique. There's not too much going on. They're simple, like pictograms. You want to get it right away. You know, you don't want to be sitting there studying what that is. You want to know what it is right away. And then I gave you some tips on, you know, even if you believe that the person viewing it will understand what that icon is, you know, don't kind of assume that they may know. So I kind of showed you how you can make it crystal clear with the icon, you know, adding verbiage to it so that's, you know, not only visually, you know, showing you what it is, but also verbally. Plan the hierarchy. Like I said, you need to kind of plan this out. Last week, you hopefully were thinking about this when you were doing your sketches, you know, kind of thinking about your grid structure. Consider the principal CRAP. You're going to save those as JPEGs, and then you're going to save the native screen file. For your final submission, though, you're going to upload your final PDF, multiple page PDF showing both your flat screen and your presentation screens all in one PDF. Then you're going to export just your mock-up screens, you know, where it has the kiosk and then the mock-up. You're going to export that as a JPEG for Behance. Okay, so presentation, use InDesign template or your own. Place screen flats, insert in mockup, save as an InDesign file, and then you're going to save as a multi-page PDF. Like I said, we went over this all yesterday in the lecture. So if you need clarification, I would highly recommend you review that, you know, over again. All right, so for assessment 4, we are going to take a look at, let me go and share my screen. We'll go into Canvas here. Hold on one second. I have lynda.com videos up here. All right, so I'm going to read through this. This is for assessment 4, presenting an interactive interface. So presentation is often key to approval from your client or management board. Your presentation is a representation of how you feel about the work you have done and your professional attitude and skill level. A professional looking presentation is well aligned, consistent, clean, and simple. It focuses on the project itself and avoids unnecessary elements or heavy personal branding. It should show off the work you have created and how it will function for the client, not your or your company's personal branding. The layout and design of the presentation is an extension of your design skills. So look at your presentation as a design project of its own. When you present an interface to a client, it is nice to be able to show some of the interactive features and more closely stimulate the flow between the screens and interactions. Setting up your presentation in InDesign will let you save your presentation as an interactive PDF. This will allow you to use a slideshow and button features in InDesign, which will make the PDF a more lifelike presentation of your project. PDF format is customary for a digital presentation. PDF files can be opened on most platforms and can be compressed to pretty reasonable file sizes. So for the prompts for your final assessment, you will take advantage of the button features in InDesign to create an interactive PDF prototype of your interface design for a presentation. Place your screen designs in InDesign and use the button function to display the interactive features of your design. See this week's course media for demos on how to apply the button feature. So assignment instructions, follow this outline for your presentation. Page 1, title and mockup of kiosk with welcome screen. Presentation of your screens with interactive buttons includes sidebar or footer text that explains the screen and its use. You can use the same text from your assignment presentation. So basically, you're going to just use that mockup PDF that you saved out from assignment 4. Then you're going to save your files in an interactive PDF. I'll show you how to do that. You're going to name it as such below for the submission instructions and submit a multi-page interactive PDF with required components for grading. And this is worth 50 points. All right, so let me know if you have any questions, but I'm going to go forward here with the demo. So let me share my screen, my InDesign screen. This is kind of where we left off yesterday too, so it's a great point of where we stopped. So basically yesterday, and I have to fix this spelling here. I showed you how to set up this template that is provided to you in the assignment 4 instructions. And I went through each step, one step at a time, on how to import your screens into here, not only on the presentation, but also in the mock-up. So you'll want to kind of rewind, listen to the recording if you missed that, so that you kind of know where to start. So this is where we ended. Everything looks good. I'm in InDesign. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna save this as assessment 4. So just go ahead and do a file save as. I'm gonna save it to the desktop for now, so that we have 2 files so you don't mess up the other assignment 4. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna create buttons with these screens, and they're gonna be interactive buttons that you will be able to use whenever you export as a PDF. All right, and before I get into the details, I wanted to play a couple videos here, which I think will explain how to create buttons, and then I'm gonna go and do the same in the demo. So hopefully that'll kind of be a good summing up of how to create buttons. Okay, I'm going to start out with your lynda.com, which is accessible in your course media. And this is what's in your week 4 videos for week 4. I'm just going to play an overview of interactive objects. And you can go on and go through the understanding buttons. This is work with interactive objects. You can kind of, listen to all these. I'm just going to show this one, a very quick 3-minute video here. And then we'll go on with another 4-minute video that explains a little bit further.
Before we get into the details of using InDesign's features for creating interactivity, let's just spend a few minutes talking about what kinds of interactive objects you can create with InDesign and how they're different from regular objects in your layout. There are 3 kinds of InDesign objects that exist just to create interactivity. These are buttons, multi-state objects, and form fields. And we'll cover the details of working with each one of these in later movies. But we'll start out here by just trying to understand what these things are. Here's an example of an interactive PDF where I've converted some of the text frames into buttons that can be clicked to view different images in this artist portfolio. Notice when I mouse over the buttons, the text changes color from black to purple. So buttons can change in appearance in response to user input, like mousing over or clicking. Buttons can also be used to do things like control the visibility of other buttons. So I grouped together each painting and its caption and then converted them into a button. That way I can control their visibility with these buttons on the left side. So as I click each title, the correct painting and caption will come into view. And in the movie on buttons, I show how to do this. Also in the exercise files for this movie is an example of a PDF form that was created with InDesign. Form field objects are very similar to buttons. In fact, you use the same panel in InDesign to work with them, the Buttons and Forms panel. But form fields are different in that they exist to collect user input, like type text or a click in a checkbox. So with form fields that I created in InDesign, I can fill out this form by doing things like selecting a 1-year or 2-year subscription. I can add my name, tab over to the next field, add my last name. I can do things like choose items from a list, like here where I can select my state, and I can click a checkbox to sign up for emails. To see a multi-state object in action, I'm going to switch over to iBooks and take a look at a fixed layout EPUB that I exported from InDesign. Multi-state objects are in some ways even simpler than buttons. They're just sets of objects organized into states where only one state can be visible at a time. Often buttons are used to control the visibility of states in a multi-state object. And that's how you can create something like a slideshow, where you can have a button that can be clicked to play or pause the slideshow. In this case, we have a slideshow of an artist's portfolio, and each painting and related caption was a state in a multi-state object in InDesign. And the purple triangles are buttons that I set up to view the next state or previous state of the multi-state object. So here in iBooks, I can click the buttons to view the different paintings and read their captions. And I can go back in the other direction by clicking this button. Notice how this is different from what we saw in the first interactive PDF in this movie, where I had separate buttons controlling the visibility of each painting and caption. Here, clicking or tapping a single button cycles through the slideshow in either direction. Okay, now that we've seen some of the basic ideas for what buttons, form fields, and multi-state objects are, let's see how to work with them in InDesign.
Okay, so that is a great intro to your, kind of understanding the different features of interactivity within InDesign. So you can go ahead and go forward and watch the other videos that follow that, and it's definitely very supportive to what you guys are going to be working on. I also wanted to share another quick video. This is just a 4-minute video of how to create buttons in InDesign. I think it's very helpful. It's pretty rudimental. It's fundamentally easy to understand in this video. And then I'm going to go forward in my demo and show you how to create the buttons, how I would approach it.
There we have it. All right, so what I wanted to do right now is take a look at buttons in InDesign CS6. And what we're going to find when we work with buttons is most times we'll be using buttons when we're creating interactive files, interactive documents. Now, what's really great is InDesign actually has these pre-built graphic buttons that you can work with. Now, of course, you can go and create those buttons in Photoshop and Illustrator and place them into your file. But if you want to create very quick arrows to go from page to page, let me show you a quick way to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our buttons and forms window, which if you needed to find it, you can come to Window, Interactive, Buttons and Forms. Once we have this window open, what we're going to do next is we're going to come and we're going to click right here, and we're going to click Sample Buttons and Forms, and here we have our sample buttons and forms. And we're going to start with the buttons. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on down, and we're going to work with, I'm going to work with 151 and 152 right in here. Now, what I want to do is I want to apply these on my master page. So I'm going to double click my master page. I know that I'm on my master page because I come down, and in the bottom left corner, it lets me know that that's where I am. So I'm going to come on in over in here, and I'm going to grab this. I'm going to drop it down. I'm going to line it up right here, and I'm going to grab this one also, pull it down, drop it in right in here. And you can really place them wherever you'd like to if you want to, pull this one out over here and line it up over there. You can do that. And you can also drag this one and line this one up over in here. Now what you're going to find is as I go to my other pages and I have them page 2, page 3, page 4, everything is right in there. And I'm going to actually, see that one. Move that over just a tiny little bit. Now, if I wanted to line everything up, you can see that I have pulled out this guide. And again, I could do that in my master page. So I could come on into my master page. Oops, I have 2 masters. I could come into this master page, and I could pull out a guide to line that up. And then when I come on in over in here, I can take my box and line it up perfectly. I can do the same in here. And everything is just lining up. And again, pulling out the guides from the rulers on the master page is always a good idea. And then everything, you can use them as guides, as they're called, guides. Okay, so what I want to do now is if I click onto this little arrow right in here, deselect that, click on here. All right, oh, I need to go into the master, sorry. So I come into the master. You can see when it's not in the master, it doesn't do anything. And I look at my buttons window, and I can see that the command is already built in. So it says the button's already created, so you don't need to create the button. You could, if it was an object, you could convert it to a button. So you could say object convert to button right here. But we can see that the command's already put in. So it's saying on click, on release or tap, go to next page. And that's what it looks like when it's there. This is what it will look like on the rollover. It has a little drop shadow. And again, this is already all pre-built. I'm sure you probably already know what this one says. This one says go to previous page. So there we have it. Let's preview it and let's see what it looks like. So I come to File. I come to, in order to view this, I need to export it. So File, Export, and I'm going to export it as an SWF. It would also work as an interactive PDF. I'm going to replace it. I'm going to say OK. And OK, that's because I have it in CMY. I should have put it in RGB because it's going to Flash Professional. Something that's viewed on the web. All right, so here we go. Page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. I'm going to go backwards. 3, 2, 1. There we have it, working with the buttons that are pre-built in InDesign. Thanks for listening.
Okay, so hopefully that kind of summed a few things up with, you know, she saved that out for Flash. We're going to be saving it out for an interactive PDF. So hopefully that clarified some things for you guys. And then I'm going to actually do a demo here. We're going to take a quick break, and then I'm going to do a demo on how I would approach this, show you kind of some things that you can do. I'm going to show you how to export it out, save it as an interactive PDF, and then view the PDF to show you what I'm looking for when you submit your work. All right, so I'll be back in about 5 minutes and we'll continue on. All right, let's get back to where we were. So we're going to be opening up. This is what you are to do with your assignment here. Let me share, make sure I'm sharing my screen. So I'm in InDesign. I'm gonna sneeze here. Give me 1 second. Woo, okay. Sorry about that. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your assignment 4, you're gonna save as assessment 4, just the one that you're showing the kiosk mock-up with. And what we're gonna do, save it as assessment 4. We're gonna zoom into this, sorry, first screen here, your home screen. And we're going to apply interactive PDF buttons to this so that when you save it out as an interactive PDF and submit your PDFs for assessment 4, I can actually click on them and it's interactive. Okay, so I'm gonna make these buttons all kind of interactive, but you know, because we don't necessarily have a contact, hours, and gift screen, we are going to we're going to create a button, but it's just going to go to the next page, okay? So if this were a real screen, you would kind of link it to that particular screen, but because we're only doing a couple screens, we need to do it a little differently. Okay, so I'm going to take my square tool, and I'm just going to make it the size of my actual button here for this first home button. And I would give it a no stroke, no fill, just so it kind of covers the button so that if you were to click on it, it's gonna, you know, go be interactive. Create that with the square or whatever kind of button that you have. You might have a round one, rectangle, create that, you know, around whatever you want clickable. Okay, go up to window. If you don't see the palette up, go up to window interactive and choose buttons and forms. And your panel will come up where you can actually access the buttons. Okay, so for this particular button, we're gonna just choose type button. And we're gonna name this home. So you can name it whatever the button is. I'm gonna say on click. That way, you know, we're not really, well, you can say on tap. I'm gonna do on click. The next thing, let me see if the PDF options, okay, they show you down here. You want to choose as an action. So just add an action. The only thing that you are not able to do as far as a PDF, interactive PDF, is go to next page. For some reason, it's not going to do that with the PDF, interactive PDF. So go to page and specify specific page. You can go to the next page. I'm sorry, I had that backwards. But as far as, you know, the animation goes, you can't do these and export out as a PDF, interactive PDF. This is PDF only. Go to next view, go to previous view, open file, print file, submit form, view soon. I'm gonna go to next page. We'll just give all of our buttons go to the next page for now. So that is the action. Everything else looks good, and that's it. So you can see that it creates this like blue dotted or dashed square telling me that there's a button applied here. And I'm gonna do the same thing on all of these. Now, if I were to actually do this, say, you know, if I wanted this to go to the map, I go button, map, on click, and I can actually go to an actual page if I were to create like a flash version of this, and I would specify the page screen. So I'm just going to go to next page just because, you know, we're pretty much doing a general thing here with this. Search page, button, we'll put search, add. I wonder if you go to destination, okay, it goes to the document. We don't want that, let's delete that. Okay, that's an action. Go on click, search. I'm trying to figure out how to make that so that it goes to the third page. Go to next page, go to previous page. See, if I was able to do this, this is SWF. That means that is only allowable to do in the Flash options. If I were to do this so that the search page would go right to the third screen, I would say go to page, and then it would say page 3. But we don't really have that option. So, because we're doing an interactive PDF. Let's see here, we're just gonna go to next page. I mean, that's pretty much what we got going on here. I think all of these should be actual size. So let me change that here. Okay, this will be contact. Click. Let's try go to last page. Actually, we could do that on the other one too. On the search, we'll go to last page on this one. Go to last page. Okay, so just kind of repeating this. Button, hours, click, go to last page. Button, gifts, click, go to last page. Okay, so I would save this. And that's pretty much what you do for the home screen. Now, if you have any arrows or whatever, you can definitely do that. I have arrows on the next page, so I'll skip to the next page. So what I could do for this one, I can create buttons up here as well. Just do like a clear button, so home screen. If I do like a little rectangle over top of the type, I can name this home screen and add this go to first page because that's the home screen. Save this. We're not really going to do a location map because we're already on that screen, but then the search, we can create a button. Search button. And we can go to the last page for that one. Okay, the next thing is the arrows down here. Now you can, like in the video, you can do choose the flyaway here, sample buttons and forms, and you can actually pick and choose an already designed arrow, like see down here, to apply to this. So like say if I didn't already design the arrow, I could pull one in here and actually use this one. Okay. And then what I would do is just kind of edit my button information here and, go to the previous page is what that one says. Or I could just create just like a rectangle over the one that I created. 1 second, guys. All right, and then create the button, and we'll name this back button. Click, we'll go to previous page because it's on the back button. And then for the forward button, go forward, we'll do the same, kind of just a little square over top. Make it a button, we'll name forward button. On a click, go to next page. Here we go. Okay. Everything else you could probably just leave as is. The next page, again, you could do the same thing with the arrows and the screen and the last page as well. All right, so that's kind of what you do for the buttons. So hopefully that kind of makes it easy for you guys. When you're done, you're gonna go File, Export, and you're gonna choose Adobe PDF, but choose Interactive. So I'm gonna save mine to the desktop. All pages, looks good. Export. All right, now what you need to do is check your PDF and make sure it is interactive. So let me open this up for you guys to see here. All right, let's off this here real quick. All right, so whenever you submit your PDF, your interactive PDF, it should look and act similar to mine. So nothing interactive on the first page. Go to the second page. Remember how I added those buttons to the home, map, search, contact hours, gifts? If I go to, for instance, let's go to search. When I click on that, just on my keypad, it goes right to the search option or screen, or actually presentation. Let me go back to the second page here. If I go to map, it goes to the next screen. Oops. And the same thing, test your arrows out. If you want to go back, you click on the back button. If you want to go forward, you click on the right arrow, see if that works, okay? So test it out, see if it works. Add your buttons, and this is the actual PDF that you're going to submit for your final project. Seems pretty simple and easy. Let me know if you have any problems going forward. But like I said, you know, it's pretty simple, easy. Keep it simple. Don't overthink it. And just make sure you're saving it out as an interactive PDF. All right, so let's see here. We got assessment for interactive presentation. You'll need your screens. We talked about this. Just kind of add interactive buttons, demo and lecture. We just did that. So you're good to go with that. I will post these examples and more information to your announcements, so you guys can click on that since you're not in lecture right now, and that'll help, you know, maybe add some supplemental resources for you guys to check out. All right, don't forget, final submissions are due by midnight this Saturday. Don't procrastinate till the last minute. You know, it's hard to do. I've been there before, but try not to, especially because you just never know what'll happen. Hopefully nothing bad, but you know, you get into those situations where it's like, you know, wait until the last minute and everything goes wrong. So hopefully that's not the case. If you experience trouble uploading the finals, email me at, you know, my email address. Leave notes or comments if you need to explain something. And don't forget to complete the career integration quiz. That's 15 points and much needed, appreciated feedback. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go and show you some class examples from past students, and then we'll just wrap it up because that's pretty much all I have for you guys. I went over a lot of stuff yesterday, so it was a pretty long lecture yesterday. So I want to make sure you guys, you know, get a good start for your projects. You're not too overwhelmed, and I, you know, pretty much went over everything that you needed to know so far. Okay, so let me open up. I have two examples of student projects here. Let me get these open. Okay, one is the Lowe's, which they didn't put the logo there and the name, but you get the idea. But this would be an example of what the Lowe's one could look like. Very simple. You know, obviously some things would be aligned better and stuff like that. But you can get the idea with the icons and the added text on there. Okay, next page. They decided to do like military discount, promotional options. I would just follow, you know, the instructions in the actual project with the places that, you know, we're told to definitely have. I think this one follows the instructions a little bit better here. See how the home screen is actually chosen and then also shown in the icon, it turns yellow. It's a nice way to do it. Now, if you are colorblind, it's probably a good idea to show it in another way, maybe have an underline underneath it, something that you'll definitely see even if you're colorblind. I'm not sure if these colors would be something. I know some people have extreme color blindness, so that'd be something to think about. Especially in the navigation bar, see how they are doing the color change for the location map. Maybe adding an underline to that will, you know, allow anyone who is colorblind to be able to know that they're on that page without having to just rely on the color change itself. All right, so that's two examples that I had from previous class to show you guys. Hopefully that will help you guys understand what is needed. Now those were not interactive PDFs, those were just for assignment for submission for the template part. So just kind of keep in mind that, you know, yours will need to be interactive for assessment 4. Whoops. All right, that's pretty much where I'm gonna wrap it up today. So let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to, you know, respond to your fellow peers in the discussion. And hopefully we'll end very strong with, you know, some great projects here. And you'll get the experience of creating these really cool interactive buttons so that you understand how it works. And don't forget, you can add this to any type of PDF that you're creating for, say, for portfolio purposes. You know, this is a great way to learn how to make your PDFs more interactive if you need that, say, for a portfolio. All right, guys, I had an awesome time with all of you, even though I didn't see most of you in lecture, just talking with a lot of you guys on the discussion boards. I learn a lot from you guys as well, so that, you know, I'm inspired by you guys and just seeing your progression, you know, throughout the weeks. So, you know, it's a pleasure to be here teaching you guys. I'm going to post a final farewell at the end of the class with my contact information, because even though this class is over, it doesn't necessarily mean that we can just stop talking. You know, it's always good to kind of keep in touch. So I will provide some information there if you want to stay in touch with me. And I might see you in future classes, because I also teach other classes here at IU. So, you know, you just never know. All right, feel free to contact me with any questions, concerns. I will be here, and I look forward to reviewing your final submissions. All right, have a great day.